Jamaica was and still is the most rebellious slave colony and plantation in the Western Hemisphere. This hostility gives rise to our colorful languages and gestures. Jamaicans are very feisty and disrespectful by nature. Therefore, speaking in a derogatory or disrespectful manner has become the normal everyday street languages and slangs and a form of strength and macho-ness. Understanding Jamaican curse words or swear words, more popularly known as bad words, and their meanings are very crucial when trying to understand a Jamaican. Jamaican bad words are the most famous and commonly used indigenous words and phrases. They are used mainly to express one's emotion, place emphasis, and add color or character to what is being said, to whom it's been said, how it's been said, and where it's been said will determine the seriousness of the situation or if they are just joking. The interpretation is very vital and important. These choice words and phrases are deeply rooted in every part of Jamaican speech, dialect, and cultural languages. Bad words are most commonly used as verbs, adverbs, adjectives, nouns, pronouns, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Most, if not all, these words originated during slavery. Likewise, our native tongues, Creole and Patois. Slavery forms the most fundamental part of our cultural identity. Hence, Jamaican bad words, names, origin, and meanings. Blood clot, also known as pussy clot, was a piece of cloth a female slave would use to cover or plug her vagina, aka her pussy, during her menstrual cycle or when she is hemorrhaging, bleeding, or shortly after giving birth, because there was no break or sick leave or maternity leave given unto slaves. Even though sometimes the pussy cloth had to be shared amongst females, relatives and friends, as in multiple females using the same piece of cloth. The blood clot was very well protected. It was a sacred position of a female, which when seen or talked about in public can cause immediate embarrassment and shame based upon its condition and smell at the time of exposure or sighting. Whether it's clean, dirty, bloody, holy, tear up, smell rank or stink, or a combination of faults. How the pussy clot was kept was used to measure a woman's character and pride or lack thereof. Back then, degrading a woman's pussy clot was the main weapon used to belittle and insult a female. The term blood clot or pussy clot, when used towards a male, was a direct attempt to demasculate and or intimidate him, which was and still is considered by many to be very disrespectful. The term nasty dirty pussy clot and bleeding blood clot is still widely used in our society. Bumbo cock, aka bumbo clot, also called body clot. The bumbo clot was a piece of cloth or cork that slaves, male and female, used to wear when they were having running belly, diarrhea, or any other shitting disorder in order to keep on working, because there was no break, sympathy, or sick leave given to those who fall behind or could not keep up. They risk being severely punished. Once a slave have on his or her bumbo clot, which was very hard to hide, they would automatically carry the disgusting stench of shit. This is why, even up until today's date, stinking is always associated with bumbo clot. Commonly, move your stinking bumbo clot and go. When spoken of, the condition of the bumbo clot was either used to disgrace, belittle, embarrass, or shame that individual. The ass cock, ras cock, or ras clot was either a cock or a piece of cloth used to plug the rasshole, which is the stinkingest part of the arsehole. Back then, when diarrhea, running belly, or any other shitting disorder gets severe, it would require a piece of ras cock or a piece of ras clot to be used as a plug before using the bumbo clot. This was a term used to downgrade an individual in a disgusting manner. For many female field slaves, one piece of cloth would serve all three purposes. That's where the term bumbo pussy blood clot and bumbo pussy ras clot comes from. Fuck you, fucked up, fuck off, and fuckery. Fuck is the verb and fuckery is the noun. Fuck is the brawling and vulgar word for sex in our culture. From way back in the days, it also means any era of confusion or action that begs explanation. to mess up, to screw something up, to wreck something, to spoil something, or to mash up something, whatsoever it may be. It is a short and smart way of saying someone or something is stupid, daft, or incompetent, which is also a form of disrespect. Frig, frigging, and flipping are the sanitized and Christianized words for fuck and fucking. Calling female bitch and bitches. The female slave was called bitch and the male slave was called bull or son of a bitch. Bitch is another name for a woman dog. By calling a female slave a bitch was a direct attempt by the colonial masters and slave owners to dehumanize and downgrade a female slave from womanhood to thinghood, from somebody to nobody. A dog is considered to be one of the worst creatures when it comes on to reproductive responsibility. A woman was expected to breed like a dog, fast and plenty, weaning early, starting at age 11. A female slave was promised her freedom after giving 13 live births that survive past infancy or make it to the auction block, whichever comes first. Bitch is also a derogatory term for a weak or cowardly male. Today, the term is widely used and accepted in many societies. Calling a person dog, especially a male or son of a bitch, was meant to be derogatory, demeaning, and dehumanizing when referring to a male breeder slave, also called buck or bull, shortening for bulldog, because his main purpose was to breed female slave and move on with no strings or responsibility attached, just as dogs do, also implanting the broken family and single mom culture among blacks. Now the term is widely accepted and used for street credit. Now calling a man a dog is more of a status and rating thing. The term motherfucker means just what it says. During slavery, slaves were referred to as possession and properties just as any other animal or thing. A slave was recognized by law to be 3/5 of a person by his church and state, but get treated way less than any other animal. To replenish their slave stocks and their slave population, planters, colonial masters, investors, and slave traders got involved in the lucrative business of breeding slaves for sale due to the high demand in slave labors. Many plantations were set up for this purpose only because it was very profitable, more cost-effective, and less dangerous than the Atlantic slave trade. Physically, the more stronger looking and docile slaves, male and female, were selected as breeders. Girls started breeding at age 11 or 12, male much older in their early 20s. The most popular method used to make slaves mate for reproductive purpose only was to strip them completely naked, male and female, tie a bag over each slave head as blindfold, lead them into a dark room known as the buckhouse or bullpen, where the overseers would oversee the ordeal. Any slave tried to remove the blindfold or communicate would be severely punished. After the ordeal, the bag is removed in an organized manner to keep the identities and happenings under disguise. Whenever these planters, masters, or overseers want to embarrass or shame a male breeder slave, they would publicly accuse him of fucking his mother. Hence, the term motherfucker stick with us as one of the worst forms of disrespect, because in these hostile times, there is always a need to shame, embarrass, insult, or belittle another for them to feel less than. Jankro. Calling a person a jankro is an attempt to bring them down to the level of a vulture who scavenge the earth for dead, stinking, rotten flesh and carcasses. This term is normally used by the privileged when referring to the underprivileged. Suck your mother is one of the most commonly used Jamaican phrase or bad word. It can have a lot of meanings and interpretation, especially in these times. Back in the days, it was considered a derogatory way of telling a grown person that they are a little child, which was considered to be very disrespectful. Giving a grown person the least of baby command, talking down to them in a derogatory manner, Even though the term is widely used, for many, it brings immediate offense and retaliation. Suck your mother can also mean to go perform oral sex on your mother. Telling a grown person about their mother in that way can be very unpredictable, especially with the type of command that comes before or after. Pussy hole or fussy hole mean fucked up, soft, or unpredictable. It's a way of saying a person is not moving right and cannot be trusted. Calling a male a pussy hole is a form of demasculation, or saying he's a coward, weak, or he's not loyal. Batty hole, asshole, or bumble hole. Calling a person a batty hole, a asshole, or a bumble hole is a way of saying they are worse than a pussy hole, their action stinks, and they are behaving shitty. Waste man, waste woman. Calling a person a waste man or a waste woman is another way of saying they are useless, worthless, and good for nothing. They are solid waste and belong in the garbage heap, which can be deemed very offensive. Caca-fart. Caca-fart is when you fart or ease your body and some shit comes with it, most commonly with diarrhea and pooping temper, which when happen comes as a surprise and disbelief and warrants urgent reaction. The term caca-fart is normally used to express awe, surprise, excitement, something unexpected and outside the norm. Shithouse or shithole used to be the worst kept and most disgusting smelling shack or spot tucked away in a back corner for shitting purposes. Most of the time it was always in a worse than deplorable condition. Classing a person as a shithouse or shithole can be very offensive and rude. These were the type of words, phrases, and references slave owners and racists used to downgrade slaves and other ethnic groups. These curse words and phrases have survived the test of time and still is causing great discomfort, hurt, shame, and harm. So I hope the next time you hear or use any of these curse words, bad words, or phrases, you will have more understanding of what's going on, what's intended, and what's being perpetuated. Because in Jamaica, a dis, which is a shortening for disrespect, can carry grave consequences. Overstanding is the key. If you like, please leave a like and subscribe to I channel.